does everyone know that this VA hiring course is even inside the portal? So I want to share this with everybody. But when you guys are in the portal, you go to lesson number 4 under recruiting, and then you scroll to the bottom here, virtual assistant course. So you just click on this. This is where this is. Okay, so this is in here already, or we're actually gonna walk Jessica through this process, and that way you guys can see her actually doing it and like going on online jobs PH and doing the job description, everything in here. But this is where you guys can access all this information. So the first step we're gonna do is go through online jobs PH. And so Jessica's already got her website. Did you get subscribed to online jobs?
Yeah.
Already? How much was it?
$69 US.
$69 US for the month, and it's just month to month, correct?
Yeah.
Cool. And if you guys do this properly, which if you guys follow the system, you guys should have your VAs hired within less than a month. So you should only have to pay that one time. Now, if you need to go back and hire more VAs, you cancel or you downscribe. Is that what you call it? I don't know. You cancel your account, or you go back to the free account in between when you're actually hiring. And then so once you're in here, it's really simple. You go to post a job. Cool. So job title. So if you actually go back to our VA hiring course, it should give us VA job description. So we'll click on that VA job description. Cool. So then job title, you can type in virtual assistant. And regardless if you're hiring a schedule manager, you're hiring a personal assistant, just put down virtual assistant. It has the largest funnel. Any is fine. And then job description, go ahead and go back to that job description.
Copy everything.
Yep, exactly. And so again, like this is the template that I give you. You guys can modify this, you can change this, but it literally works really good this way too. Use it as your starting point. Wage salary, yep, go back to your job description, see what's on there. 400 a month. This one, I think it's like the 50. So basically what All In Jobs does, they have some sort of system on the back end that they confirm that the person is actually who they say they are. So I just leave it standard. You got your email in there, you got your contact person. Okay, so notifications. I would turn off notifications because it's about to be crazy. That's actually the biggest problem with this. You get too many applications, you get too many people, but as we go through the process, I'll show you how to filter through some of this. Okay, so primary skill, go ahead and select primary skill. So office admin virtual assistant, that's gonna be our number 1. And then, yeah, so these are all, I think these are ones you guys can, like specifically what type of admin assistant you're looking for. Like I would do admin assistant, and again, go ahead into secondary skill. And you can do this again. So go to office admin again if you want. We can go to a different category. So go to secondary skill, yep, number 1. And then you can go English. Yeah, click on English. These are some things you can, so if you're going to have a virtual assistant be able to talk on the phones, you want maybe somebody who speaks really well, or someone who's going to write things for you. But again, like that's not necessarily what we're looking for. And specifically for a cleaning business virtual assistant, so go ahead and go back to office admin, and we're actually going to go data entry. Perfect. And then go ahead and secondary skill number 2 and virtual assistant. And then the last one is actually personal assistant. That skill level, because they're just really good at attention to detail. Okay, so go back up. We should make sure that we got everything right here. So virtual assistant, any type of employment. I actually prefer to do full-time just because that's what I'm looking for. But again, if you guys are not doing full-time, that's totally fine. I just find that you'll get a better quality of candidate if you go full-time.
Right.
And scroll down. Okay, go back into job description. You can just confirm that if you click in there, just make sure everything is actually in there.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, go ahead and click post job. Cool, go back to your dashboard here. Okay, so now let's play around a little bit here inside Online Jobs PH while candidates are coming in. So go to your account, I believe, job posts. So inside here, it's going to show you your job posts. So again, you can have multiple job posts if you want. I think it says it gives you up to 3 of those. So it'll show you all your different job posts. It'll show how many hits. It'll show your applicants. It'll show the status of it. You can edit it. So if you go into edit, for example, let's say that we forgot something, go ahead and click edit. Meaning you can go back here and you can edit something, whether you want to change the pay, you want to change the type of person, you want to change your notifications. Like this is where you would adjust those things. Go ahead and click save changes. Thank you. Go back to the job posts. So if we are able to delay for about 5 minutes, this thing is going to start to flow really fast. And so while we have one applicant, this is actually great. So click on that one applicant.
Oh, we have a message already. I didn't even see that. So just click the message.
It's about to be crazy. Okay.
Wow.
Now, this is actually the issue that we're going to run into, is that we're going to get a lot of applicants. Okay. So how do we sift through all these people? And so it's going to take work. So correct expectation, like there is work to be done. It's just going to be done on the filtering of all these people. Okay. So how do we filter without wasting a ton of our time is go back to your hiring course, And then now we'll see there's the hiring questions. We'll click on those questions. Yeah. And so these are, again, a good framework. These are literally the questions I use, but you can take these and you can modify them as need be, but I literally just copy and paste these. And you can see that I literally just copy and paste because all the font sizes are a little bit different. And so you're actually going to ask, so go back to the top here. So this first one, you're going to ask this question: thanks for applying. Please send me an email to blank, right? So you're giving them directions because you want to show that they can follow directions. And then you're going to ask them 3 questions per email that you're going to do, or per response, because you want to see if they're actually paying attention. And you also want to speed up the process a little bit. And you're also going to ask qualifying questions that if they say no, if they don't fit into one of these categories, then you're not going to respond back to them. So full-time or part-time, if you're looking for full-time, and if they say part-time, then they're done, right? How many hours a week? Again, if you're looking for 40 hours a week, you need to make sure they can work 40 hours a week. What is your experience? So this one, obviously I updated it and changed it back to bookkeeping in QuickBooks, but you need to say, what is your experience with virtual assistant, right? Or if you want, again, if you want to be specific about what you want them to do, about personal assistant, virtual assistant, I would keep it very broad to start with. And then do you currently have another job? So you really don't want them working for somebody else. That's why you want full-time. So you actually have their attention. And then they reply to you. After they respond to you, then you'll ask them the second series of questions. And then you'll ask the second series of questions, you add the third series of questions, and then the fourth series, and then the fifth question is to basically set up a Zoom interview with them. I believe that if you go back to the hiring VA course, cool. And then there's the interview script right there. So then again, we might get through some of this today. We'll see how many people apply and how fast they move, but we might get close to, we won't get quite on an interview, but we might get to the place where the last step of the equation is for you just to get on an interview and then ask these questions. So go back to your VA, or go back to the interview questions. Go ahead and copy that first thing here. Yep. And then you're going to, right there. Yep. Go and copy that. And go back to online jobs. Cool. Go ahead and paste that down there. And then you're going to need to update it so it doesn't say bookkeeper in QuickBooks, but say virtual assistant. There you go. And then copy this because we're going to use this. Yep, go and copy that. And then go ahead and click send. And now go back to your messages, to your inbox, and we'll see how many more are in there now. Oh
my goodness. You weren't kidding.
And then go to the next person, and then go ahead and I wouldn't read this. These are all things that you'll read after the fact if someone actually goes through your process, but then put your email in there. Yeah. So this first step of it is you're not gonna read any of this. You're just gonna you're just going to see if people actually follow your system and process. That's what you're actually learning right now through this, is who can actually follow directions. And then you go do that for the other, you're not gonna be able to keep up with it. What I really want is I want someone to respond back. That way we can at least do this second step of this, because that's really what we're looking for, is people to actually respond back and for you to be able to see the difference in different responses and kind of see what you guys are looking for. It's funny because our virtual assistant does this now, right? Like this, as you can see, it's very task-based. So we have one of our virtual assistants who actually does the interviewing process for VAs. Okay, so while Jessica's doing that, do you guys have any questions? So Renee asked, is this a normal amount of applicants? You will have to turn it off in less than an hour, because you'll have 70 to 100 applicants, which will just be unreasonable for you to be able to get through it by yourself. Again, if you have a virtual assistant who can do this for you, you can get through a lot more. Nancy asks, I have questions about how to figure out how many hours you have to offer. Do you just say full-time, even if you don't want to have it, but are good with paying it anyway? Yes. The attention that you're gonna get from someone who's solo focused on you is so valuable that if they're willing to work up to 40 hours and you're able to pay $400 a month, which is $93 a week for a full-time person to do all the tasks in your business, is it worth it? So to me, it's yes, right? Can you do it part-time? 100%. Part of the training I got was actually the guy who built this online jobs PH. And so I modeled my course off of his course. He said that you will find the best candidates if you pay full-time. And because there's such a arbitrage of what it costs us versus how much more, how good of money that is for them and how good the opportunity is for them, he's like, I would suggest you pay full-time and you do a salary. All right, Jessica says, do you give all these VAs very specific directions, videos to do the tasks needed? Yes, exactly, Jessica. So the key to having a good relationship And having an effective virtual assistant is actually your ability to be able to communicate what you want to them. Part of the course, and Jessica actually mentioned this to me today, as I started explaining what we use, what's called a VA duties list. And so it's on the course. And we basically have the task itself, payroll. And so under payroll, they click the link on payroll, and all of a sudden there's a video that pops up, and then we walk through exactly the step-by-step process on how to do payroll. But yes, it's your job to create the systems and to be able to communicate it to them. And if they're not able to follow it, understand it's not their fault, it's your fault. Virtual assistants' strengths are not creating systems. Their strength is following systems. So if you're like, hey, somebody else figure this out for me, like a virtual system will not work for you. In that case, like you will fail if you're trying to get somebody else to create the system for you.
That is the only time that they will ghost you as well, is if they don't feel like they understand it and they're not confident enough to say, I don't understand it. So one thing we always do is ask, does that make sense? What questions do you have?
So anytime you send them a new task, you say, hey, I updated your task sheet with a new task, and they're gonna be like, thank you so much. And then always follow it up with, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Or better question to ask is like, does everything make sense? Or if you want to go the third step is like, what part of this doesn't make sense to you? Okay, so if you're hiring someone full-time, is it a good idea to combine things? As an example, combine them, ask them to do Indeed, schedule. Yes. So Renee, think of a virtual assistant as the person who does everything. So if you look at that hiring course and you see our VA task duties, you'll see that for the long time, when we were just getting started, we had Jaya, our top virtual assistant. She's now our customer support manager. She was doing our cleaning company. She was doing our short-term rental property management. She was doing our long-term property management, right? And then it got to a point where there was actually too many tasks for just her. And so then we started hiring more virtual assistants. Jessica says, I have a physical assistant that does a variety of tasks. I'm looking to pass some of those on to a VA. Yeah, they're also great helpers. So like we have our virtual assistants help a lot with our salesperson, with our recruiter, who are their American based, and we basically use the virtual assistants as their helpers as well. When we go back to the online jobs, but by the time we get back in there, we'll see how many applicants are in there. Again, it's gonna be very wide. And then after the first question that we send, we'll get people to respond to the second question, and the third question, fourth question, fifth question, and we'll continue to narrow this down to filter out as much of the riffraff as you possibly can to the people who are actually, number one, who want it and who actually meet your criteria. That way you're only interviewing a handful of people on Zoom, rather than how do you interview 100 people, right? Like you can't do it. Once you do the interview, you're like, hey, I really like this person. Then what do you do? So Jessica, are you finished with the second responses with everybody?
Yeah.
Will you go ahead and share your screen again, and then go back to the VR hiring course? All right, and now you're gonna go to the VA formal offer letter. So let's say you find someone that you really, really like, right? Or you find two people that you really, really like. And so again, here's a good template. You literally just put in their name, Dear Jessica, this is an offer for whatever position is the virtual assistant with our company, Busy Moms Cleaning, right? You will report to me or to somebody else in your team in the role of virtual assistant, right? You'll be expected to carry out the following duties and responsibilities, okay? And then you're offering them a salary of X amount of dollars in exchange for X amount of hours of work. You'll be paid whatever that breaks down to weekly. If it's $400, it's $93 a week. You get paid on each Sunday of each week. Starting working hours are specific times. Again, keep in mind that the Philippines time is quite a bit ahead of us. And so Kitty, do you know the conversion right now? Like if right now we are 12:40 Mountain Standard Time, what is it in the Philippines, do you know? So they're ahead of time. They're 12 hours ahead. So you basically just put the hours that they work, right? We're also offering 2 hours of paid time off. Please request time ahead off 30 days in advance. Position will start on whatever date you want to start it on. Your first pay date will be this day. Again, we're trying to be as specific as possible. You guys are seeing this, like we want to outline every single detail. We recognize these holidays and you'll get paid on these holidays. So these are part of like their benefits. These are all the holidays that they recognize and then they follow. Other than that, if you keep scrolling down here, we use WhatsApp. Again, if you use Slack or you use something else, like you put in what you're gonna use. And then this last part is super, super important. It's not like, these are one of the things that you mentioned the first time that you mentioned over and over again. And so again, the only reason that a virtual assistant will ghost you is because they don't want to lose your respect, right? They don't want to feel less than. And so if you just say, hey, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to fail. It's okay to not know what's going on. Like, please ask me, like, let me help you. And so that's what that last question is. Can I count you not to disappear if you get lost or stuck, but instead come to me if you need help? And so this is obviously very specific to virtual assistants because they're very sensitive to it, but humans, which includes Americans, are very sensitive to this as well. So a lot of times it's like you as the business owner you yourself do not give yourself a break to make mistakes. You yourself are so hard on yourself that you expect everything to be perfect. And perfection is the lowest possible standard, not the highest possible standard. It's the lowest possible standard. It's a form of blame and victimhood to not give yourself permission to make mistakes and to feel like I gotta be perfect. So the first person you need to practice this on is yourself. But the second person is your virtual assistant, and the third person is going to be your American employees. And then now you have a virtual assistant. Amazing. Now what? So go back to your VA hiring course. Right. And then now we have our VA duty. So this is going to be the next step. You're going to do is like, you need to actually give them work to do. So it's not like, okay, go do this. Right. So it's your job. Again, like there's work to be done on your end. A lot of the work actually is done on your end, is then you create the VA duty. So this is just an overview video, but you literally just create a Google Doc, just like you're seeing right here. And like whatever task it is that you're doing, you're going to make a video for it and then put everything below it that they need in order to complete the task, whether that be logins, whether that be additional information. At bare minimum, they need the walkthrough video. So then once they have access to the VA duties, like it's not like they don't quote unquote clock in and clock out. So you want to give them hours that they need to be on for so that you can communicate with them. If you want to unshare your screen for a second, I will actually just I'll show you guys on my end what this looks like. So again, we use WhatsApp. Oh, it's already up right here. So you can see here, look at that, perfect. So you can see Rhea, she came in here today and she says, starting my shift right now. So usually what it looks like is I workouts to the drive, but she'll come in and say, start my shift and ending my shift. And the only thing I send to her is my workouts. And then I just give her like a little thumbs up sometimes. That way that I know they're online. And then if I have a specific task, I send it to them. All right, Jess, if you want to, go ahead and share your screen again. And let's go back in and let's start doing some third round of questions here. Go back up. So let's go ahead and let's look at this person. She's looking for full-time, looking for 34 hours a week. Amazing. Okay, so this is where when she says, I couldn't have another job. Yes, I do have a part-timer. So in this one, I would have said, okay, if you do this full-time, are you planning on keeping another job or are you willing to fully commit to me? Something along those lines.
Right. Okay, so I should have read that and then responded based off of what you said. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, that was my fault. I was just trying to get through this a little quicker, but yes, on that one, you need to actually respond and then you would follow up with your question. So let's just say that she did say that she didn't have another job. See, even like, this is cool because as you start to go through some of these, you start to see even how people respond. It's like, I could tell this person's a good communicator. She's just taking your question, she's just highlighting a different color, and then she's like putting her answer to it. Again, like if this is the only person you see, you don't have context, but I promise you, like when you start to see more and more of these, you're like, oh my gosh, this person is someone who I would be able to communicate with.
Right.
And then you'll see people who got like really short answers. There's like, there was no thought behind it. There was no attention to detail. And you're like, okay. So there's lots of nuance in this as well, which again makes the difficult in the whole thing being that a lot of volume. So again, I'm trying to share with you how to shortcut this process from a stamp of where it looks like eventually, but in the beginning, like spend some time for you to actually be able to understand these nuances, know what you're looking for.
Would you say I should say anything to her at this point about the full-time or just leave it?
No, for sure. So like, what did you like about your personal job? So I really like my previous side, being flexible, variety of tasks. Again, like looking through these, the variety of tasks they've worked with leads me to develop my skills and exposure. So like everyone in here, it's funny. They're like, I'm afraid to give, them new tasks. It's like, they love it. That's what they want. They want more new tasks. She worked for a foreign employer for it, which is great, which means that she knows kind of what the process looks like, what it feels like. She could start June 26th, which is on Sunday. She could start in 4 or 5 days. It's amazing. So loving your answers. Yep. I would put one right below this. Like, would you, if you were to take this job full time, would you be open to committing to this full time and then getting your part time job, something like that? So Jessica's going to go through this. She's going to get probably 4 or 5 people at minimum that she's going to get on to interviews with. And I mean, she could really get on with like probably tomorrow, right? And then she's going to pick somebody and she's going to hire somebody. The next question that you guys have is what?
What tasks do you give them?
What tasks do you give them, right? And so go through that VA task sheet on the online course and you'll see some of the things that we have on there. as like a good foundation. But if you just look into your business, like, okay, what are some things that I am currently doing in my business right now? So again, if you're doing this or you see somebody else doing this, like start to write down all the things that you do on a daily basis and start to write all things down just for your business. Think about that. And then, okay, so there's all these tasks, and then start to realize that there's a ton of things that you can have this virtual assistant do. And then when you onboard them, you also set the expectation, like, this is the task that you have now, but I'm going to continue to find you more tasks. I know you're looking for more stuff. So just so you know, like, this thing will continue to evolve, it will continue to grow. And so maybe in the beginning, you're not going to feel like you're working the entire time, but I'm going to continue to find more and more things for you to do. That sound fair? And they say yes. And so you just need to set that expectation that it's like, here's what it is, but like they're only probably going to work half that time. But is 20 hours a week at $400 a month still worth it? It's still worth it. Okay, so you give them a task sheet, and then they want to get paid. So how do you pay them? Beginning, we use PayPal, we use something else, and it charged them a fee, it charged us a fee. It took forever to get it to them, and then this has been the best. So if you go back to your video hiring course now, so you'll see pay use Remitly. This is the video. So that video will walk you through exactly how to do it, but go and click on Remitly. So this is the website that you're going to use. It's called Remitly. You have to create an account. So what we're going to do is we're going to send money to the Philippines. Okay, and so what you'll do as part of the onboarding process of the virtual assistant, you'll get them to have a bank account. You'll ask for the bank information. Now, go ahead and click bank deposit. The reason why you want bank deposit is because there's no fee on either end.
Yeah.
Change it to $93. That's what it turns out to be a week US, and then it automatically converts it. Cool. So it's 5,208 Filipino pesos bank deposit. Yeah. Go ahead and click on that. Click down. Click continue. Okay, so yeah, so then you'll ask, so these are the questions that you'll ask them. Again, I believe this is somewhere in the onboarding, but you need to know like what bank it is. So click on one of the banks. You'll need to know their account number. So this is what it looks like. Once you put all their bank stuff in there, then you choose what bank account it comes out of. Again, if you use a debit card, it does charge you, but then you just pick one of these. So like we will pick like Wilson 5-Star, for example. Cool, so there's no fees. So it says Tuesday the 27th, right? So it says it's gonna take basically like 6 days to get there. And then we just click send money. Cool, does that make sense?
I have a lot of work to do.
Yeah. So there again, there's work to be done up front, but after it's done up front, then at that point, it's literally just a matter of you just click send a couple times, and that's how you pay your virtual assistant. I recommend paying them every single week, because that's what the guy who created Online Jobs PH told me to do. And so I just said all that he said. Now I'm sharing that same thing with you guys.